Luka, Chris Mannix with Sports Illustrated. When Kristaps was traded, right over here. When Kristaps was traded to you guys a few years ago, there were a lot of expectations for the two of you to be successful. Why, in your mind, did it not work out maybe the way everyone hoped?
I don't really know. I don't know why it didn't work out. We were still both young. We tried to make it work, but it just didn't work. So moved on.
Fox Sports. You've talked a lot about what Kyrie has meant to you as a teammate, but did his leadership skills surpass your expectations?
I mean, his leadership is amazing. The way he connects us. I think me and Kai are the leaders of this team. But he's the one that's been in the finals. He's the one that won the finals. So he's the one that is really leading it, and he's keeping us all together and motivated.
Dave, right here.
Luka, Dave McMenamin with ESPN. One of your favorite players growing up, LeBron James, just called Kyrie Irving the most gifted player the NBA has ever seen. Just as someone who obviously you're a basketball player as your occupation, as your passion, as your life goal. What's it like seeing the stuff he could break out in practice, in game situations, and do you guys kind of deepen each other's bags by being around one another?
I mean, some things he's done, especially in practice, it's insane. You know, the things he's even trying the game, it's insane that he can. I never seen nobody make those shots, and I never seen nobody try those shots. And obviously we know the handles, but just some shots are crazy, and it's amazing just to experience this live.
Right in front in the middle.
Luka, Jesús Quiñones, Telemundo, te quería preguntar, has estado en finales anteriores, ¿cómo crees que esta experiencia te ha preparado para estas finales?
¿En qué finales?
Juegos de campeonatos anteriores.
Bueno, estuve en el último, fue en Madrid, así que eso fue un buen recuerdo. Pero bueno, nunca he estado en las finales de NBA, es muy diferente, así que veremos, pero estoy preparado.
Over to the right.
Luka, Eric Mora de Telemundo Dallas, pues cuéntanos qué es lo que más estás disfrutando de estas finales y qué significa para ti enfrentar a tu ex compañero Kristaps Porzingis y poderle intentar ganar en esta final.
Bueno, lo que más me gusta es estar aquí. Es muy difícil llegar aquí estando en finales, sobre todo contra los equipos que hemos jugado, así que va a ser un bonito encontramiento con KP, así que tengo muchas ganas de jugar.
Tim on the left here.
Luka, Tim Reynolds with the Associated Press. I know you're locked in on the finals right now. I respect that, obviously. By the time this series ends, you'll have played like 95 games this year or something like that. I know playing for Slovenia means a lot to you. Have you decided if you're going to play in the qualifiers, which would be just a couple weeks after the series, obviously?
Yeah, I think we'll see how my knee is. But if it's a good, I'm gonna go play. Yeah. More games. You forgot what was that? World Cup before the season.
Standing all the way in the back, left.
What's up, bro? This is Jabari Smith, NBA correspondent for Game 1. I'm gonna ask the same question you probably done got 1,000 times. First NBA Finals. How does it feel? You know what I'm saying?
Amazing. First time here. Hopefully it's not the last time, but never take it for granted. You never know if you're going to come back, so just enjoy the experience.
For sure. Appreciate it.
Over on your right side.
Luka, tedaj Lampret, Pop TV. Številni ljudje v Sloveniji vas bodo spremljali v tej finalni seriji, tudi sredi noči. Kaj jim lahko obljubite pred to finalno serijo?
Edino, kar lahko obljubim, je, da bomo dali vse od sebe, da lahko zmagamo. Vem, da bo naša ekipa tudi dala vse od sebe. Imamo zelo težkega nasprotnika, ampak vse bomo dali od sebe, da bomo lahko zmagali.
Bruce, right here in the front.
Bruce Castleberry, Boston Herald. You've played in front of a lot of hostile crowds. How do you expect the reception to be here, and how does this crowd compare with crowds that you've faced around the NBA and in Europe?
Yeah, I think it's very loud crowd. Everybody knows that. I know they've been known for that. It's hard to play in this place. The crowd is amazing for their team, And all I gotta say is we gotta, stay together. It's us against them, so we gotta stay together. But it's gonna be really hard to play in this crowd.
Tomer, over here on the right, just hold on for the mic.
Hey, Luka. Entering that trade deadline, PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford were on lottery teams, headed for another kind of and short end of their season. Now they're key contributors to your season, I guess. Like, what does that say just about the opportunity and just given the right role on the right team?
Yeah, it speaks a lot. You've seen it, more examples too. But I think they fit perfectly with us. Their trade made us so much better team, especially on the defensive end. So they're the perfect roles that we need.
Back left here.
¿Qué tal, Luka? Sergio Andrés, drafteados. Nos vimos en Madrid al principio de la temporada. Empezasteis allí y te preguntamos si te iba a dar suerte haber empezado en Madrid o si iba a ser una cosa que podías volver a hacer a lo mejor en el futuro si te daba suerte. Ahora estamos aquí en las finales. ¿Se puede decir que te dio suerte? No sé si eres supersticioso, pero...
No creo que soy, pero esperemos a ver si ganamos esta. Sería más fuerte, pero bueno, ha sido un buen inicio, de donde yo empecé, así que ojalá lo pueda repetir.
We'll take final two on the back right and then on the back left.
¿Qué tal, Luka? Katka Sorana de ESPN. Sé que se ha hablado mucho de esa relación entre Kyrie y la que tú tienes. Los veía la semana pasada en el entrenamiento, incluso compitiendo allí en tiros. ¿Cómo dirías se hacen mejor el uno al otro, también con esa competencia interna que viven día a día?
Sí, claro, siempre en los entrenos competimos. Bueno, ahora que ya hemos jugado muchos partidos, sobre todo competimos en tiro. El año que viene competiremos en 1 contra 1 seguro. Pero también nos empujamos los dos, así que eso es para mejorar los dos.
All the way in the back.
Yeah, Jonah Javad with WFAA in Dallas. Luka, you mentioned playing in hostile environments. You played a lot of basketball games. Is there one game or one place in particular in your whole career, NBA, international, that was the most rowdy environment that you can remember? What was the craziest?
Yeah, I remember it good. It was quarterfinals of EuroLeague against Panathinaikos. In Panathinaikos, the crowd went crazy, and they started winning 20-0. So imagine that.
Hey, Kyrie. Joe Barton from The Athletic. Did you see what LeBron said yesterday?
Yeah, I did. Is that the first question?
Yes, it is.
Oh, God.
And it's
gotta
not
love
even,
this.
I mean, we
Gotta
know
love this, man.
that obviously you two have said over the last couple of years that you miss playing with each other, you wanted to play with each other, but for him to come out and say yesterday not only how well you are playing, but that he misses being your teammate, like, how do you react to that?
I mean, I have a great reaction. It's appreciated. There's a lot of gratitude there as well. Obviously, I'm in a different age, different place in my life. So was he, and I think we've both been able to mature and really appreciate what we got a chance to accomplish. I think there were some things that got in the way of our relationship when I was a little bit younger, and now that I'm able to vocalize how I feel as a man and be comfortable in it and stand on my square and my beliefs and where I'm coming from, I feel like our relationship's different because of that now. And definitely miss him playing out there, just making things easier, being able to run up and down the floor and just throw the ball to somebody like that, throw it in the air, just as athletic as they come. But yeah, it's just a mutual respect there for what we brought to the table. And his leadership, my leadership style, I think it meshed very well, and I was learning a lot from him that I'm appreciative for the rest of my life. So, man, when he says comments like that, I just think back to just us having those moments where we're down in a series or up in a series, and we're really demanding greatness from each other. And then off the court, our families just meshing well. So definitely think about those times, but now we're here in the present where we're able to reflect, but also now I'm at this stage and able to use some of the formulas that I was taught from him and some of the great teachers that have come before me. I feel like I've been built for this moment because I've gone through some of the things I've gone through in my past with some of the guys that have transcended the game. So shout out to Bron for all that, man. Knows how to stir up a media storm and get everybody in here talking about us. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the future and getting this series started now.
Dave here in the left front.
Hey, Kyrie, Dave McBennett with ESPN. you mentioned the things you've been through. It's been 7 years since you were last in the NBA Finals, third different team since then. How are you going to apply all the experiences you had since the highs of 3 straight finals to this time? And did you recognize maybe over that period of time just how rare and how fleeting an opportunity like this can be to compete for the championship?
Yeah, I mean, it is a fleeting feeling. Just to be real with you, there's so many peers of mine that have spent the long years in the NBA trying to make it to the NBA Finals, Western Conference Finals, Eastern Conference Finals, and have gotten very close or have almost struggled or strived every single year to get back. And I had the chance to do it in my 4th year, my 5th year, my 6th year. And when I look back at those memories, I'm never regretful of how I treated it, but a little disappointed just on how I approached just that success. And I wanted to be able to enjoy it and take a breather and really take in the moment. You're in the middle of a 76-year history. I'm in the middle of a 76-year history now, but then we were in years of history. The NBA is very young still as a business. So when you ascend to this level and you've put in a lot of hard work, you've beat some of the best in the world, you're playing with some of the best in the world. I think at that point I just looked at it as, I'm going to be here every single year. And now that I'm at this age, I've been through what I've been through and been able to come out on the other side. I look at it as an opportunity that I don't want to take for granted, and I want it to last as long as possible emotionally, just because of how much it took to get here. These young guys are very hungry. They want a championship. I want a championship, so our feelings are very mutual. But I've always reminded them that this is a process, and failure is going to be a part of this too. So get it out your mind that this is about to be a clean sweep of everything's about to feel good throughout this journey and all that. So I'm just very real, very honest, and that's what's helped me grow as a leader is just accepting what I can control and what I can't, just letting it wait to the wayside, man, letting that go how it's going to go. That's life. And basketball's been a great teacher for me, but life has been an even better one. Using those same principles that I'm learning in life to apply to basketball has allowed me to get to know my teammates better. There's no silent treatment that's coming randomly, throughout the year because I don't know how to emotionalize or vocalize how I'm feeling. So some of the things I struggle with as a young player, I've now been able to accept that this is what comes with being in this position, taking on the pressure, and then also teaching my teammates how to get through it and also allowing them to teach me. So just staying a student and enjoying the craft, man.
Standing on your back left.
Hey, Kyrie, back here. Nick Coit from ABC6 in Providence. Just wanted to ask you, what has your relationship with God meant to you, and how has it helped you succeed with this organization?
Man, shout out to God, man. He's been imperative and just helping me grow and enjoying the game every single day and competing. And, I feel like he's just one of my uncles, just from Harlem, New York, that's there to give me a little shit when I need it, but be honest all the time and remind me that this is bigger than basketball. So shout out to God, man. He's helped me a lot this year and been there every single day to help work me out and also inspire the next generation. He does it in his own way, so I'm just following his footsteps, just like other uncles of mine who have done great things in this world.
Mark on the right side.
Kyrie, Mark Spears, ESPN's Landscape. Two things. What is it like playing against some of your former brothers, former teammates now on this stage? And also, you seem like you did a good job of tuning out the crowd last time you played here. Is that something you're thinking about, and is there a key to doing that no matter what they say to you?
Yeah, I mean, I've experienced Boston in twofold. My first few years being in the NBA playing for the Cavs, then coming here to Boston, then being right down the street in Brooklyn, and then now being here in the finals playing against them in the potential 4 to 7 game series. You just got to breathe through it. To all my youngins out there that are dealing with some of the crowd reactions and what they're saying to you, you have to breathe and realize that this is not as hostile as you think it is. Don't overthink it, and been able to work through that and understand that some of that is anxiety, some of that is nervousness, and it could all be turned into a strength. There's no fear out here, man. It's basketball. The fans are going to say what they're going to say. I appreciate them and their relationship they have to the game, but it's about the players at the end of the day. And then the first question was, first part of your question was, or your statement? Oh, playing against my former brothers. Yeah, no, I'm excited. They've gotten tremendously better. They've led their team to this point, so I'm proud of them. And I'm looking forward to the competition because this is what we've all strived for since we were kids, is to be at this level playing against the best of the best. They have a great team over there led by a great coach. So we're going to be in for a great series, a hard, tough series, and they're going to give us their best. And I know that they're not going to slow down when they see me. They're going to come at me even more so. So this is what I've been preparing for since last summer, or when our season ended last year, of putting in the time to prepare for moments like this.
How has it motivated you for this moment? Do you turn off social media when your son says something, or your friends, like your mother? How have you dealt with the scrutiny, and how has this kind of built you for this moment that you're about to face now?
I think more so than me, right? It's like my mom, my grandma, my family and friends. They're more bothered by it than me. And, I understand, like, if Deuce was to make it to the NBA and people were talking about him every single day, as a parent, I wouldn't be able to separate the superstar from the child. So, my mom took it a little tougher than maybe I did. But for me, I don't take it personal, right? It's just a long break without NBA basketball. So they had to overanalyze every little thing and have something to talk about. Did it get old? Yeah, but it's the finals. They wouldn't talk about me if I wasn't good. So, try to take some positives out of it and change the channel.
Tanya, back right.
Tanya Ganguly, New York Times. You were talking a bit ago about sort of the legacy of this franchise and the weight that puts on you, not you personally, but the weight that puts on any Celtics team. I'm curious, though, for you personally, is it helpful for you to think about the big expectations of the franchise? Is that motivating, or do you prefer, as you're going through the playoffs, to keep that out of your mind and think a little more narrowly about what's in front of you?
Yeah, and honestly, it's like I don't think about the future or what this may mean for me down the road. Just as simple as it sounds, is just trying to stay present, stay in the moment, enjoy it, right? Keep talking about pressure. It's the NBA Finals, like, this shit is supposed to be fun, and that's kind of where I'm at with it. Is like I'm in the NBA Finals. I have a second opportunity to win a championship, and I want to enjoy it. I want to enjoy the moment, enjoy it with my teammates and my family. So that's where my narrow focus is at. Is about competing at a high level, finally getting to play tomorrow, and just having fun, just going out there and doing what I love to do.
Jabari, back left.
What's up, bro?
Oh, shit.
I feel like, well, first of all, Jabari Smith, NBA correspondent. I feel like this league is a lot of expectation. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to try to shift it a little bit. What would you say to somebody going into their third year who hasn't really lived up to the expectation that has been set on him? What would you say to somebody going into that?
I would say that somebody that has been through that, right? How old are you?
21.
21. I've been in that situation. Everybody else in the world that's your age, that's 21, is still probably in school trying to figure out what they want to do in life. And we come into the league at such a young age, and they want us to be perfect right away. And this is part of growing up. You're still growing up. I'm still growing up. And it's a process, right? Nothing was accomplished overnight. And I think you'll find the value in tough times, the ups and downs, just what life brings you. Damn, I sound like a real old person right now. Just in the sense of like your career, I would just say, man, enjoy it, right? It's going to be some great times. There's going to be some times that aren't so great. It's okay to be upset because that means you care, right? You want to be great. And people believe that you can. They just try to rush the process. And it takes however long it takes. But, as long as you work hard, you believe, and you got the right support system, obviously you do down in Houston. I know all those guys, coaches, and everything will take care of itself how it's supposed to.
For sure. Appreciate you. Good luck to you, too.
Thank you.
Last one in the back in the middle.
Hey, Jason. Drafteados from Spain. A lot of NBA legends lost his first finals and then came back and they won. What's the biggest lesson that you learned from the first NBA finals that you played?
Biggest lesson, I give a lot of credit to that team, like the Warriors. I think, we understood what it took to get there, and, they understood what it took to get over the hump. That was a really special team that didn't make many mistakes, obviously well coached, and they just been there before. And in some of those tough moments, when I go back and look, you can tell that, they had been there before. And it was a lesson to be learned. And I, told myself that if I ever got the opportunity again to make it to the finals, that, never take it for granted. And, obviously, we're here now and thankful to be here. And I'm excited to get ready to play and have fun tomorrow.
Jaylen, Dave McBennett with ESPN, way in the back to your right. You got Kyrie Irving on the other side of things, former teammate of yours, and certainly one of the better players in the league with the ball in his hands. What was it like having him as a teammate? How was that formative in your career, and just the defensive challenge of going up against a guy like him? What does it take to stop him?
Well, I think it was that was like 5 questions. I think it was great. Definitely learned a lot from Kyrie while he was here, and it's been great to see his journey, to see where he's at, all the stuff that he's going through, and stuff like that. To be where he's at, it's amazing. It's dope to see. How to stop him? That's a great player over there. So it's gonna be a full team effort. Him and Luka, making sure that we're alert, making sure that we're back in transition, and do the best we can.
Vinny, towards the back, right.
Jalen, Vince Goodwill, Yahoo Sports. 2 years ago doesn't seem like a long time ago, but in basketball world, it can be forever. How are you guys a different team? How are you a different person and player from 22 when you guys were in the finals the first time?
Yeah, you learn and grow from your experiences. From being a 25-year-old to being a 27-year-old is a big difference. Yeah, I'm 27. And you learn from those experiences. We got a different team. We got a different coach, too, as well. Now we had Ime Udoka. Now we got Joe Mazzulla. We had Marcus Smart, Rob Williams. Now we got Jrue Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis. Got a different team, different coach. 2 years later makes a pretty big difference. Yeah.
Michael, third row in the middle.
Michael Pina, The Ringer. Jaylen right here. What does Brad Stevens mean to you, and what does he mean to this organization as just someone who's been here for over a decade now?
I think Brad has been great in his role as GM. He was a great coach, and I think he just continued that by just being a great GM, being able to put the right pieces together and things like that. And it's happy for him. His schedule's been able to settle out, probably putting a little bit less stress on him than we did when he was coaching us. But no, Brad has been great since he's been a part of the Boston organization. He's helped bring this organization back in terms of winning, and has now been able to move into that GM position and put the right pieces together to get us back to the finals.
On your right in the aisle, Mark.
Jaylen, back here in the back right. Mark D'Amico, Celtics.com. Jason was just asked about looking back on that 22 finals as well, and he said, when I do look back on it, I'm just curious, how often did you look back on it and watch those tapes? Some people choose to flush it down the toilet and move forward. Some people choose to look back and learn from it on film. How often did you go back and watch that experience?
How often? I've watched it a few times now, maybe like 3 or 4 times, as well as last year's conference finals. I think you can always learn from, from anything really, but just being able to watch those moments, and learn from them, like how to manage your emotions and like what you would have did differently potentially. I don't think that's bad to look at and acknowledge and be aware of. So, I would say, a few times at least, I've watched, the finals, the whole thing all the way through.
Nicholas, second row here on the left.
Hey there, Jaylen. Nick Galley, Field Level Media. You mentioned brand new team, brand new coach compared to the 2022 finals run. How has Joe's kind of approach just throughout the playoffs and here in the finals been different from Ime's?
Just two different people. So, two different guys. Joe got his own style. Ime had his own style. Both were great coaches. But Joe has been able to just emphasize, what we wanted to be offensively. And we're with Joe for a little bit longer. Joe had like the interim year, and now this is his second year in a sense. Ime only had 1 year, so it's hard to really compare and contrast, to be honest.
Shane in the front.
Jaylen, Shane Allen with Forbes Sports. Everyone kind of points to Derek's defense first when they talk about him as a player, but offensively, what can you say about his decision making and the ability to set ball screens and make plays out of that?
Yeah, Dwight has been great all season long. He's been aggressive. We've empowered him, and he's primed for these moments. We want him to come out and recognize when it's his time to strike, and we feel comfortable with him doing so because he's been doing it all season long.
Gary, next row.
Jaylen, Gary Walsh from Boston Globe. I asked Jason earlier about being one of the more scrutinized players in the postseason, and you can relate to that. You've been scrutinized throughout your career. Does that bond you together? Does that bring you together? Do you guys talk about that? Do you joke about that? And how does that affect like your mentality, your focus? Are you not as friendly? Does it affect you at all when you hear things? And how do you kind of take that into this moment where it's the biggest stage?
I think it's fair. I think it's a fair question, and I think it's fair to say that it does affect you. Being embraced versus being scrutinized. And one of my favorite quotes is like, "The child who isn't embraced by the village," or something like that. You will what is it? Y'all know this quote, right? No? You will feel like the warmth. The child doesn't feel the warmth of the village. Will like burn. Will burn it down, or something like that. Yeah, whatever. That's neither here nor there. But referencing that, it means like you get to a point where it's like you get scrutinized enough for a large part of your career, and it becomes normal, and then it just rolls off you. For me, at least, I could say. I don't know if Jason feels the same way. It's kind of been that my whole career, in a sense. Just being booed when you were drafted, to saying you were overpaid, and saying you overpaid again. It's been that the whole journey for me. So it just becomes another headline.
Bob, last question here on the left.
Hey, Jason. Bob Schron. Again, piggyback on Gary's question. Your journey has involved a lot. In the beginning, you were coming off the bench and was fighting for playing time. It goes back that far. And I know how Joe focuses on you guys focusing on the on the moment. But how do you frame the legacy of this group? in terms of winning a championship. One of the guys asked about it being special as a Celtic, but it also has to do with you guys as a group.
And I think that's a great question as well. And I think this is a special group. I really do. The core group of it has been here for a few years now. We've been able to go through the experiences of, having success but not having success at the same time. So I think that, to solidify it, the ultimate goal is to get over the hump and win. I think that'll add a lot to our legacy. But as of right now, that story is still kind of untold.
What's up, guys? Hi, Kristaps. Just a thought on, kind of talked about it yesterday, but how are you feeling right now, physically, mentally, as you get ready for the NBA Finals?
Feeling good. It was a long road to get to this point for me. But feeling good. Looking forward to today's practice, moving around a little bit more, and then being ready to go tomorrow.
How badly do you want to be able to contribute to this run and this team play against these Mavericks?
Of course. Burns inside of me, not being able to be out there. But tomorrow, finally, I'll get the chance, and I'm excited for it.
Kristaps, are you feeling like yourself at this point, or are you feeling well enough to play and to contribute?
It's tough to say. I haven't played. I haven't played for a while, and tomorrow will be my first real minutes in a while. So I did as much as I could to prepare for this moment, but there's nothing like game minutes and game experience, that I'm going to get tomorrow. So it'll be tough, but to jump into the finals like this, but I did everything I could to prepare for it, and we'll see tomorrow night. Yeah. What does apprehensive mean?
Kind of cautious.
Cautious? No, not cautious. I'm gonna be out there no. I do this. I've came back from multiple injuries. I've had these first games back. Of course, not at this stage, but at the end it's just basketball. Of course, the intensity is a little bit higher, but I have to go out there and play like it's a basketball game and an important basketball game, and that's it. I don't need to think too much or just overthink out there. Just go out there and hoop.
Kristaps, just to be clear, are you saying that tomorrow you guys will decide based on you going hard whether you're going to play or not?
No, I'll play tomorrow.
You will play.
I will play tomorrow. Yeah. Sí, yo creo que sí. Como he dicho, tengo que salir sin ningún miedo, sin ninguna duda, a darlo todo en la pista y con confianza entera, porque he hecho todo lo posible para llegar a este momento lo mejor posible y es el momento, y a darlo todo en la pista.
¿Qué significa para ti jugar ante tu ex equipo? Es especial, y jugar ante Luka Doncic.
Sí.
¿Qué sientes? ¿Es especial ese momento?
Sí.
¿Y cómo has visto el crecimiento de Luka desde que tú fuiste?
Luka es un grandísimo jugador, uno de los mejores de esta liga, y ver su trayectoria, desde el momento que primero que llegó a la liga y ya después jugar con él y ahora ya ver su evolución, es increíble, y no es ninguna sorpresa de que han llegado tan lejos con Luka liderando el equipo, y nada, va a ser un challenge para nosotros jugar contra ellos, intentar parar a Luka, intentar parar a Kyrie y nada, a darlo todo, como he dicho, en la pista. Claro. A ver, fue mi casa para 2 años y medio y disfruté mucho de la gente de Dallas y de la organización. No salió el proyecto como todos quisiéramos, pero una gran experiencia para mí jugar ahí y jugar con Luka.
What are some of the ways?
Can you translate that to English?
No.
I'm assuming that he knows about Luka. Just
Yeah.
what is your relationship now?
No, it's good. It's always been good. Yeah, he's as I said in Spanish, he's one of the best players in the league, in the world. It will be a tough challenge for us to try to stop him, but just following his career, when he came in the league already made a huge impact, and then I had the opportunity to play with him for a couple of years and get to know him, and just knowing what type of person he is, what type of player he is, his mindset, like he's a special player, and we have a big challenge ahead of us, competing against somebody like that.
What are some of the ways you've tested the calf, physically to give you kind of that assurance that things are good to go? Have there been scrimmages? Have you tested, you feel like every way possible so far?
I mean, I did everything, right? You have to check all the boxes to even get to this point. Of course, there's, as I said, you cannot imitate like the same intensity in practice as it's going to be tomorrow in the game, but I have to feel confident to go out there and leave it all on the floor and expect that I'm going to be healthy and completely fine.
How did this weigh on you mentally? Watching the guys, obviously want to be a part of this. How is that kind of challenge you from a mental standpoint and kind of drove you to be here? Obviously it's been tough, but no, I've never felt like I'm not a part of this. I am a part of this. I've tried to be with the team like in any capacity I could, and guys so far have been like playing great, taking care of business. Guys stepping up. Al has been unbelievable for us, and I just look forward to add more to us to complete the mission.
Your teammates have talked about that, about how much a part you've been of this run. But, you guys have talked about this to get here to this point all season long. When you step onto the court for game one here at the Garden, you've talked about the crowd. What's going to be going through your mind, and what are the emotions like for you?
Oof, it's going to be goosebumps for sure, especially not playing for a while and then coming back in in this kind of environment is going to be special. It's going to be goosebumps for sure. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Just speaking with Dwight Powell and with Maxi Kleber, they just had great things to say about your time. They just said it didn't work out, with your time in Dallas.
Right.
How do you look back at your time with the Mavericks, as far as, with it not working out the way that it did, and now you're here in a good situation in Boston?
Yeah. No, I would not all of it was like not good, right? We had some good moments, we had some decent moments, but overall I think it didn't work for both sides. It wasn't perfect, and but I would say everything, teammates, locker room. I know at that time there was some rumors, there's something in the locker room. It was never like that, it's just all noise at the end, and it just wasn't perfect for us playing together, and it didn't work out, and that's it, and we moved on. And there's no ill will, I don't think, from their side, for sure from that side, my side, and I don't think there should be. So it just didn't work out, but I have nothing but love for Dallas and for the teammates and for everybody there.
KP, what did the last couple of days look like for you as far as trying to get ready for playing tomorrow? Sort of what is your daily routine now with the calf and getting your conditioning back and everything?
Yeah, keeping it pretty light last couple of days, just prepping my body. Recovering as much as I can right before the game to be in the best shape possible for tomorrow, and it's been pretty light. Today is going to be another light day, and just prepping for tomorrow.
Will you have a sense of what your wind will be before you get out there, Kristaps?
Sorry, said that again?
Do you have a sense of what your conditioning level will be before you get out there? Are you ready to play a normal amount of minutes, or is that something that you have to kind of see as you get out there and see how you feel and how the game is going?
Yeah, I think it's still kind of open. Yeah, it's still not super clear. I haven't had that much time, and yeah, we'll see tomorrow night and then go from there.
One final question, please. With Sham God when you were in Dallas, and can you do a Sham God? Have you done a Sham God?
Yeah, he's a legend. Of course, messing around in practice, I've tried his move, and he's one of the best people I've been around. Super cool coach, great connecting, the coaching staff with the players, and just his personality, his energy is always top notch, and Dallas are very, very lucky to have him on the coaching staff.
At what point? A lot about redemption and wanting to fight back after what happened last year and the season before that in the finals. Is that perspective the same for you, or do you feel like it's a little bit different having missed the majority of this year's playoffs?
Talking about years prior,
Yeah.
here in Dallas.
And redemption. Do you feel like you have your own personal redemption, given that you haven't, played the majority of this playoff stretch? Or
No, I think no. We have one goal in mind, and it's not about like individual redemptions or like, whatever agenda everybody like. We don't care about this, and it's been like that since day one. Like since I got here, my message was clear. I'm just here to help the team win, and unfortunately, I haven't had the minutes on the floor with the guys, but now I get the chance, and it's all about winning another banner.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Kristaps. Considering you haven't played in 6 weeks, how would you best describe your emotions? Are you anxious? Are you confident? How do you feel?
I don't know. I don't know. I think sometimes I don't know how I feel. I think tomorrow we'll see. I don't love this, but I love the moment when the game comes. I don't love all the rest. I like it, but I really love the moment when I get to the game. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow and the moment when we finally get on the floor, hear the fans, and just leave our passion out there.
So are you able to give them a scouting report, having played with Luka and some of these guys? Were you able to tell them look for tendencies or whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, of course, but they play a little bit different now with Kyrie. Obviously, we see how Luka plays. Everybody sees it, and coaching staff knows. And we've done, coaching staff has done the job to give us the answers. But obviously, as I said before, it's going to be a crazy hard challenge for us to try to stop Luka and Kyrie. But we'll do the best we can.
At what point did you know?
Thank you, folks. Que han enfrentado en los playoffs, ¿qué es lo más complicado que ves tú que se puede complicar más ante los Mavericks? ¿Cuál es el fuerte que van a tener que trabajar para complicarse menos?
De los Mavericks, a ver, son ofensivamente son muy difíciles de parar, ¿no? O sea, el talento de Luka nada más ya es un gran problema, y añades a un jugador como Kyrie con la experiencia también de ganar un anillo. Es un equipo especial, ¿no? Y han encontrado el ritmo de jugar, y bueno, como he dicho, pararlos completamente es imposible. Vamos a intentarle dificultarles un poco el juego.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that will definitely help. I'm not relying on that, but I think it will help for sure.
At what point did you know this team was special?
Last one.
At what point did you know that this team was special? Was it like when you instantly got here? How would you kind of describe when you knew this was a championship team?
I think pretty much as soon as I got here. You could tell the atmosphere here and and just the culture and history here, and knowing that these guys have been so close to winning a championship already, that there's no other goal but to reach that ultimate mountaintop. So it was a great environment to arrive to.
What's up, Jrue? Vince Goodwill, Yahoo Sports. How you doing, man?
Chilling.
We talked to Jaylen and Jason. They've come in here. They both talked about their experiences in the NBA Finals and how they've been scrutinized both ways. You played with Giannis when he was going through a period of being scrutinized before he won. As a teammate, do you read that? Do you see that? How do you sort of try to alleviate some of those pressures in the moment?
You do your best to stay away. I think your mental health is probably the biggest thing, especially playing in the NBA Finals. But not only that, I mean, everybody gets scrutinized, right? When I was in Milwaukee, it was about Giannis not having enough help the first 2 games or whatever. The pressure that JB and JT have to take on is something different, and I've told them this before, but it's really, really impressive how they handle themselves, how they stay professional, how they still come out every game and do what they do. So, I think it's extremely impressive how they do that.
Dave, back right.
Drew, Dave McBennett with ESPN. It's obviously a team defensive assignment to stop anybody on the Mavericks. But I'm sure there'll be plenty of possessions where you're locked up one-on-one against Kyrie Irving. What's that challenge like? What can you do to try to nullify, thwart, stop, whatever it is, Kyrie?
It's I think it's just familiarity. I think knowing each other's game, doing your best to stay in front of them, trying to take away the things that'll probably hurt you the most, and then probably most of all, having help. him being able to see multiple guys on the court, making it look like it's crowded, making shots as tough as possible, even though he's a tough shot maker. So.
Over here on the left in the front.
Jrue, you've seen Jayson from the opposing side in big games. Has he evolved? Is he better than he was now than when you're seeing him on your side? Has he developed?
I think he's always been great, to be honest. I do think playmaking, he's done a really good job, and that's something that I never really saw from him before, where he's never afraid to take the big shot, or he's never been afraid of that big moment. But I think making the right plays in moments is something that I've noticed since I've been his teammate.
Nick, right next to him.
Nick Galley, Field Level Media. Jrue, you've been pretty open about playing with this team, how enjoyable it is, how comfortable you feel here. What makes this team different, and what makes it a team that can compete at this stage?
One thing, the talent. I know sometimes talent doesn't always mesh together, but this does. You saw it during the regular season. You've seen it throughout the playoffs, how any given night everybody is just unselfish. I feel like we sacrifice for each other, and that kind of what makes it go. And then I think it's just the will to win. I think this team really wants to win. I know they've been to the Eastern Conference Finals a million times, and they've been to the finals, so they've been to the top, just didn't execute the way they wanted to. But now that we're here, we want to get the job done.
Tim Bontemps, back right.
Jrue, obviously you've played a lot of years in the league now and been through deep in the playoffs a bunch of times. So I was just curious, having played with Jayson fully for this year for the first time, what has stood out to you about his durability and consistency to be out on the court and play heavy minutes and carry the load he does all the time?
Yeah, he never wants to sit out. And I play with a lot of players, and when you have your best player who wants to play every single game and takes the game that seriously, and even if they're banged up with the ankle or a knee or whatever it is and still goes out there and plays, I think it shows a lot, not only him as a basketball player, but his character. So,
Standing in the back left.
Yep. Jrue, Frank Arpano from NBC 10. When you come into this building and you look up to the rafters and you see 17 NBA championship flags, does it add to the pressure to want to add to that total?
Not for me. I would just like to add to it. I think to be a part of history would be cool, especially a history that the Celtics have and everything that comes with it. Again, I would say that I probably don't take bulk of the pressure just because we have Jayson and Jaylen on our team. So, but to add to that is, I feel like a part of the reason why I was brought here and a part of the reason why I wanted to come.
On your right, Tomer, standing on the wall.
Hey, Jrue. Just curious, on the other side, Dallas has a couple guys in PJ and Daniel Gafford who were kind of going to be on lottery teams before they got traded. Now they're pivotal guys on a championship contending team. Just what does that say about them, but also just how much opportunity is important and fit is important in this league where guys can contribute heavily, just might be on a team that isn't the right fit for them?
Yeah, I saw something, or somebody told me, they said they started from the bottom, like literally from the bottom, and now they're at the top. That's really cool to see. Especially playing against both of them during this season with their previous teams and seeing their role and seeing kind of how it went for them, and then now watching them in the playoffs and being intricate, huge parts of why their team is so successful. It is really cool to see. But they definitely are energy guys. They're guys that mesh well with that team and really make them go, and it's going to be a challenge for us to stop them.
PJ, just ask Luka about this right here in the back. Yeah. Entering that trade deadline, I don't know if you had a good idea, but you were headed towards, I think, your 5th straight lottery team, another early exit, and 2 or 3 short months later, you're in the finals, contributing heavily to this team. I guess, what does that say about you first, and then just about the opportunity that sometimes you're just on the right team, maybe, just to showcase your skills and how you fit on a team?
For me, I just thought it was a great a fit for me to come here and showcase what I can do. I feel like I can come in and obviously bring something to the defensive end and help us obviously get here. So for me, I'm not surprised by any of it. I just try to come in each and every day and just do my job, and we got here. So credit to my teammates, and we've done a great job on the defensive end, and we're just happy to be here.
On your right, Steve, second row.
Steve Eschmaner, NBA.com. Compared to the Celtics, who've been knocking on the door of this stage for a while, you guys are almost uninvited. When do you think the shock and awe of being here is going to hit home for you?
I'm not sure. I think when the games start, but like I said, we're prepared. We're excited. We always knew our end goal was to be here, so this isn't something that's surprising for us, and we're excited to go out there and showcase what we can do.
Are there particular things that Kyrie or Jason can impart to you, talk to you about to prepare you for this?
Yeah, Kai, I mean, he's done a great job of keeping us cool, calm, and collected. He's been here before, obviously, countless number of times. So just telling us to feel every emotion and just come out and be ourselves. At the end of the day, we have to go out and win 4 games. So that's all we're worried about.
Back right.
PJ Shingo, Ford Sports. The way you guys have defended in this playoff run, playing different schemes and styles depending on the matchups, I'm curious, how does that prepare you guys for Boston's offensive attack?
I think it prepares us really well. I feel like we played a lot of different teams that throw different stuff at us. So Boston is a great offensive team. They pretty much have a bunch of different weapons, and I feel like we've been prepared for it throughout the whole playoffs. So I'm just excited to match up with them, and I'm excited to go out there and see what we can do.
Last row on the left.
PJ Jonah Javad with WFAA in Dallas. Standing on business, if you don't mind explaining what that means to you, what that means to this Mavericks team, and also maybe how your kids have kind of embraced that pose and the poster and all that.
I think for me it's just showing people we're not going anywhere. We've been a tight-knit family since I've got here, since before that. So everybody has each other's back, and we just use that mentality each and every day. So we're just trying to come in here and handle business and just try to get 4 wins.
A whole lot of trust and just a whole lot of communication. You know, in life, you could think someone has your back, but you're never really gonna know unless they tell you and unless it happens in the gameplay. You know, you get blown by and you see your teammate putting his body on the line for you, it makes you just want to do that much more.
Dereck, are you able to let this sink in a little bit?
I mean, it's hard not to. You just gotta be able to adapt to every situation that you're putting yourself in. And whenever you're shooting, doing layup lines and stuff like that, and you turn around and there's 150 people with cameras, all you gotta do is just smile and wave.
Have Kyrie and Coach, have they told you to treat this like any other game, or have they talked about it like they've been here before?
I mean, it's hard to treat it like every other game because there's level of urgency. You know, I feel like we don't treat this like every other game because we're more focused on each and every individual fact that we can, no matter if that's defensive coverages, offensive game plan, or just what we need to do to come out and throw the first punch.
How do you describe your past year since, a year ago, pre-draft process, get drafted, and obviously everything that's happened off the court with your mom this last year? How do you describe what you've gone through?
It's definitely been a journey, man. I feel like it hasn't even been a year, but it feels like 3. You know, I feel like I've matured, I've grown up, and I've grown a lot as a person and as an individual.
You were perfect from the field when the Western Conference Finals. How do you find your spots, and how did you evolve that chemistry with some of the greatest ever played this game, Kyrie and Luka?
Just understanding I'm gonna get them into their spots. And then whenever they have 3 people on them, you just gotta understand, you just put yourself in ability where they can see you and they're gonna get the ball to you, because they're always gonna draw 2 or 2.5 people. So it's just finding little holes in the defense and slowly being able to not be as aggressive, but try to get them open so that they can get you open, and then you're gonna get your shots. Because it's not always going to be me. There's going to be people in the corner that's open, people at the top of the 3 that's open. So it's just going to be able to move the ball and just find the right shot.
How do you feel? First of all, how do you feel? Second of all, can you talk about the intangibles of receiving energy from preparing every time you look up? And what does that to the game and to mental during the game?
It makes you play with a certain level of aggressiveness and freedom. You put your life on the line out there. You put your body and your soul on the line in this 94 feet so that you can win a basketball game. We're talking about basketball. Are you going to go out on the court and be scared of anybody because of the basketball game? No. You know, I feel like there's a lot of things in life that a lot of fears in life that I've had to meet over this past year, and it's caused me to be that much more confident in myself being in such tight net and such intense moments.
After the
You know, I feel like the Boston Celtics have always been a franchise that has a lot of respect, has had a lot of talent, has had a lot of people come in and left their mark here. So it just makes it that much more of an experience for me. I've never been in an NBA Finals. This is my first year. Why not have it at the biggest stage? Why not put it in the biggest setting possible so that you can grow the most and you can adapt?
Dereck, I want to ask you about Kyrie and Luka, not as basketball players exactly, but often more as leaders. How have they helped you here your first year? And what do they mean as leaders to that locker room?
You know, their voice is law. You know, if you're on bullshit, they're going to call you out. But at the same time, they have the same respect for you. If they're on bullshit, you're supposed to call them out. You know, I feel like they both act younger than me off the court. They're both joking, joyous, trying to put a smile on everybody's face. But whenever it comes on the court, there's a certain switch that they turn on, and you can see it in their eyes. There's just the kill mentality to just go out there and hoop, go out there and get the best shot, and go out there and just try to be able to just be the best basketball player possible.
Dereck, you talk about being able to play in this building. You know how this Celtics fan base feels about Kyrie, but as his teammate and the rest of you, excited just to kind of have his back in that way because this is going to be a hostile environment?
For sure. You know, I feel like the more hostile the environment is, the more closer we get as a team. You know, able to lean on one another. Whenever there's a sea of green, we're going to lean on our brothers in blue. We're going to lean on each other, and we're going to lean on making sure that, you know, if you miss a shot, if you fall down, your teammate's picking you up. If you mess up on a transition, your teammate's going to let you know, and we're going to get it back on the next play. It's just being able to just try to grow and not try to be the person you were whenever you first walked in here.
What kind of challenge does KP present from him, both offensively and defensively for you?
You know, I think we all know he's a great player. You know, he's able to spread the floor, he's able to knock down shots, he can make smart plays, and he's an efficient player. So that just makes me want to be able to just go out there and adapt, go out there and learn, go out there and figure out his tendencies, figure out his rhythm. We're going to see what he's going to go out there and pop the first screen, so we're going to be ready for it. And if we're not, we're going to get it back by the next play and being able to make it uncomfortable for him.
At what point this season did you realize that this could really be a reality? I mean, the team got on a roll in March, and then it just has carried through and gotten better and better.
It's been our goal since the beginning of the season. It wasn't like at the middle of the season, hey, we could do this. This has been the goal since the start of the season, and we've done what we needed to do to get this far.
D-Live, you've obviously, this is the biggest stage you've played on. How do you keep yourself calm going into game one?
Just trust the routine. Trust the routine that you spend so much time and effort building, and trust in yourself and trust in the people who's putting their lives in the line out here.
What's these last 24 hours been like for you?
Roller coaster. I feel like we've went from Dallas to Boston, and now we're sitting in front of 15 cameras. You know, it's been a lot of changes, a lot of things that I've never done before, but I'm not going to sit here and look scared. I'm going to meet wide eyes and smile.
Luka, what was it like, your pre-draft conversations with the Mavericks? And then, did you know they wanted to take you in that spot? And how early into the season did you realize you were such a good fit for them?
You know, I was hoping I could go to Dallas because I knew I could make an instant impact, because I knew that what they needed is what I could do. I was sitting there with my fingers crossed, hoping I was going to get to Dallas, but I just wanted to be drafted. You know, I'm grateful that I was able to get drafted to Dallas, and I'd say whenever we had our first workout, when we played 5-on-5 and me and Luka was on the same team, I think everybody saw what could possibly happen throughout the season, and it's not a surprise that we've gotten this far.
I mean, very excited. I mean, it's everything, you know, I dreamed of as a kid. Everything I dreamed of as a kid, man, so.
I don't know whose this is, but it's got to go. Sorry. There you go.
Hey, up a little bit more. You good? Yeah. That good?
Yeah, that's fine.
Ask him again if you don't mind.
Yeah.
What's it
sorry.
like to be here at the NBA Finals?
I mean, it's awesome. You know, I've dreamed of this opportunity, you know, as a kid my whole life. You know, it's something you work for, and I think being here now, it's amazing. You know, it's the bright lights, and I think the guys are ready to go, and it's been our #1 goal since the season started.
Thoughts of going against the Celtics in this historic building?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, the history says it for itself. But, you know, like I said, everyone's excited. You know, it's one of my favorite places to play in the NBA, so I'm looking forward to it, and the rest of the guys are too.
How big of a challenge are they, and what do they present for problems?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, we obviously, you know, respect them a lot as a team. They're, you know, great team, you know, coach amazing. And I think everybody we face in the playoffs has been, you know, a great challenge for us. So I think it's just, you know, it adds to that, and it's exciting.
Josh, you mentioned working with this your whole life, coming here for school, and then, you know, going to the Mavs in the draft, and then working your way up, signing the extension, just like reflecting on that journey to be here on the biggest stage. Like, what does that mean to you? I know you said you've been working for it your whole life, but like the whole process of getting there, like how, you know, reflecting on that journey, what does it mean to be on this stage?
It's weird, man. You know, looking back at it, it's like it's crazy. You know, there's so many times in, you know, my career, whether it's high school, college, you know, it felt like, you know, it was everything was going the wrong way in life. You know, especially, you know, my first couple years in the NBA. So, you know, to be able to reflect on this and see where we are as a team, you know, nowadays, it's super fun, and it's exciting, and it continues to motivate me. I still feel like I'm young in my career, but yeah, it's good.
Some players like to say, you know, I always knew I'd be here. I always knew I'd get to the stage. Like, does that resonate with you, or were you more like, no, I had to work for everything, and like I earned this spot, rather than like, oh, I knew I'd get there?
I mean, I knew I'd be on it like in 2K or something. I mean, like I was playing my career as a kid growing up, and always, you know, dreaming of being in the finals. But I think it's hard to say, you know, I knew I would be here. You know, where I come from in Australia, you know, Castle Hill, it's like, you know, you dream of stuff like this, and it's, you know, I'm pretty sure the little me would be, you know, very happy with myself. So I would say I work very hard to get where I'm at, though.
What do you expect the atmosphere to be like here, especially with Kyrie coming back into town? I'm sure many pleasantries will be thrown his way.
Yeah, I mean, the atmosphere is amazing here in the regular season. So I can only imagine what it's going to be like tomorrow night. You know, it's going to get adrenaline going, and it's going to be exciting.
What's Kyrie meant to you guys?
He means everything. You know, Kyrie's been an amazing leader for not only me, but, you know, everyone else on the team. You know, he's competitive, and you know, since day one, you know, all of our sights have been on making it to the finals. And yeah, I mean, it's not only Kyrie. You know, Kyrie's a great leader, Luka's a great leader, but our whole team is just, you know, so tight together, and it's been amazing to be around.
Josh, how important was that preseason trip, Abu Dhabi, Spain, especially for Kyrie, who had come in, but those last 2 months had gone so quick. Yeah, the preseason, how did that just develop the culture that you guys see now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a long trip, you know, for preseason, but you know, I think it's all helped to where we are today. You know, it's we're a very tight-knit group. You know, everyone, you know, jokes around, and it's, you know, it's just a great team to be around. So I think, you know, all those preseason tournaments and games, you know, they all played a huge role in where we are today.
What did that trip teach you about as a DJ?
What are the what?
As a DJ?
No comment. Negative. No. Terrible. Get him out the DJ.
Unfortunately, that was a comment.
It was?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have an answer for that. No.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. Josh Green, I want to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
There's so many players with colors name.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown, Dereck White, you. Can I ask you a question? What's your favorite crayon color?
What's my favorite color?
Yeah.
Green.
Your crayon color.
My what color?
Crayon.
Oh, crayon color?
Yeah.
Green.
Green?
Yeah, is there a green
Me
crayon?
too. Look, me too.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I see that. I like everything. I like the shoes the most.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. I think you
Yeah.
play with the wrong team.
That's just my color, man. We'll get you a Mavericks mascot too next time, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah?
All right. Can I give you a hug?
Of course, man. I love your videos, man.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank
Good
you,
luck,
man.
man.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can I get a question in for the Aussies?
Yeah.
Hey, Josh, you mentioned how you grew up in Castle Hill. Can you tell me, for the millions of Australians that were watching you playing basketball back at home, dreaming big, what is your message to the young Aussies watching this?
Just, you know, that everything's possible. You know, I never really, you know, I worked so hard my whole life to be here, but you know, there's always that thought in the back of your head growing up in Australia. You know, you're so far from everything here, and it's been amazing. You know, to be able to have support of Australia behind, you know, me and Dante, and you know, Kyrie's Australian too. So I think it's awesome. You know, we feel the love from Australia. And it makes it so much more, you know, fun going back and everything like that. Especially having this and then being able to go lean into the Olympics after. You know, we're excited for that. But yeah, I think right now mine is just on the finals.
How do you think the Boomers are going to go this year, though?
We're going for gold, man. Going for gold.
Last question.
What do you expect the atmosphere to be like tomorrow night in this place?
I expect it to be very loud. I think that's what they're known for, and I think the whole team's ready to go, and we're excited to, you know, play in that. You know, it's atmosphere gives you a lot of adrenaline, so ready to go.
Think back to early in your career. What's it like to be here for NBA Finals now?
You know, it's a huge moment. It's an honor. It's a blessing, and it's one of those things, you know, you dream about and you think about every preseason, every season, every postseason, every offseason. So to be here now, it's something special, but just got to stay locked into the moment and continue to do the things we've been doing to be successful.
How about having it here at the Garden?
Yeah, this is a special place to play, especially an NBA Finals. So I know the energy is going to be insane. Their fan base is one of the best for sure, and they're going to support their team, and we're going to feed off that energy.
You got traded to Dallas from Boston. You got traded like 3 times in 3 months. Did you ever think you'd be standing here, sitting here as like the longest tenured guy after your career started so exotically?
You know, there might have been a few moments of, you know, like dreaming of the future to come back here like this. So it's definitely cool to be back here in this capacity. But back then it was a whirlwind. I was trying to survive.
I was going to say, what do you remember from that? You know, the roster's totally different, everything else.
Yeah, no, that was like, it feels like a whole different era to me, a different time, and it was in a lot of respects. So I'm definitely happy to be where I am, and it's been a great journey, and to be here now is a really special experience.
What do you remember about playing with Kristaps, and what's it going to be like to face him now on this stage, the chemistry that he has with the Mavericks organization?
Yeah, he's a special player. You know, presence around the rim defensively, and obviously can shoot from very deep, and with his height it's hard to contest, so he adds an element to those guys that we have to definitely key in on and take into account because he's such a scoring threat. But yeah, as far as his time with us, still, you know, we're going to compete, but at the end of the day we are good friends. We had a great relationship, and looking forward to battling.
What was that relationship like, you know, with him? What was it like being his teammate, and why do you feel like it just didn't kind of work out, you know, having him here in Dallas?
I mean, I enjoyed him as a teammate. He was a great guy, great locker room guy, and you know, in this league sometimes things simply don't work out, and yeah, there's no hard feelings there.
The way Luka's 77 has taken over the league, I was reminded of the story of him wanting number 7 maybe originally, and then your guys' comment. Can you take us back to that at the beginning when he was going to be number 7 here? I don't even know the full backstory.
I'm not sure which story you're talking about.
He was going to wear 7, but you were 7, so he said, I'm good, I'll be 77. So just how different the world has been now with basketball and his journey now. Because you're rocking number 7 at this point, too.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know if there was any conversation that was
yeah, I mean, very brief, but I think he's wearing the 77 very well. And I think for a guy like him, I think it's very fitting to have a unique number, because as one of the most unique players this league has seen, this game has seen, for him to have the number that kind of stands on its own, I think is very fitting.
If you just plopped down the first time someone had been here to a game or whatever, best describe what he is and what he does so well as a superstar.
Ooh, that's tough. It's tough because I feel like you have to have a pretty good understanding of the game for me to give you a quick synopsis, because the things he does are so unique, and the subtle nuances to his game that he makes look so simple that other people simply don't see until after the fact are what really sets him apart. But I guess at a high level, his poise and his ability to see the game, his ability to control the pace, and just see multiple plays ahead is I think one of his greatest gifts. Obviously, he can shoot the ball, he can dribble, he can pass. He has all the skills, but in terms of intangibles, I think his ability to really see the full game, see the full floor, and time and place, know how to respond is his greatest weapon.
The roster, of course, is very different, but from a mindset and identity standpoint, what's the biggest difference between this team and the 2022 team that made it to the Western Conference Finals?
It's hard to compare mindsets. It's tricky to look back in those situations, but I know this team is committed to one another, and we trust one another, and we have a lot of confidence in each other. And I think that's been a common theme throughout this whole season, and it's only continued to grow and increase as we've gotten deeper into the playoffs. And I think we're at a place now where we're very trusting of one another in a way that the energy is so positive that we're feeling very good.
To boil it down, why is Jason's message resonated with this group, this team? It seems like everyone's really kind of just bought into him.
It's been consistent. I think from day one it's been consistent, and not just in words and meetings, but in actions and practice and in games and in the way we interact with one another. So I think consistency is the biggest thing, and it's one of the most difficult things to do in this league is to show up every single day, especially when your season goes as long as ours has and starts early and we make it on a run like this. So consistency is key.
How much has he shared about his 3 finals as a player and just what that meant to him, and now obviously bringing you guys as a coach?
He's been in the moment with us. I think we understand he has a massive wealth of experience, and there's conversations that can be had, about those things. But by and large, in terms of our team, we're locked in with this team, and we have a unique situation, just as every single team has a unique situation we can take from teams of old, but we're focusing on what we can do to be successful now. Yeah, the goal has been to win. From day one, that was the goal, and sometimes the role changes in terms of how you're going to contribute to winning. And as a professional, you have to show up every single day and remain consistent, like I said, and fill your role to the best of your ability. So as that role changes throughout each season or throughout your career, you have to find ways to continue to be motivated and continue to try to add to this team in a positive way. So that's all I've tried to do, and thankfully we've been winning, and that's what it's all about.
What do you like to go through so many changes like you guys did this year? You bring your Grant at the beginning, he ends up going, and then Daniel and DJ come in. It was kind of like the beginning of the year, like adjusting to that.
Yeah, the NBA season is so long. I feel like there's very few seasons that are not riddled with change. So I think that's part of being a pro in this league is understanding things can change overnight and you have to adjust. You may or may not be involved in that change, but in some way you're going to have to make an adjustment. So I think that's something that comes with the job title, and I think it's something we handled very well this year, and is part of why we've grown so close together and had so much success.
Further this summer, what makes the Olympics such a big year for Canada basketball?
I mean, first and foremost, I'm focused on the job at hand right now, but looking ahead, the Olympics is such a special competition, especially for basketball, and us not having been there in so long to qualify this past summer and be able to compete this year is huge for our country, and we're all looking forward to it a lot.
When Kristaps came to Dallas, a lot of expectations that tandem were going to market. From your perspective, why didn't it kind of click the way maybe a lot of people thought it would?
I'm not exactly sure what everyone's thoughts may have been, but sometimes things in this league just simply don't work out. They're both great players, both great guys, and it just didn't click.
Jason, Chris Mannix, Sports Illustrated. You coached Porzingis for 1 year in Dallas. There was a lot of expectations for him coming into that situation. I'm wondering, from your perspective, why didn't it work out the way you probably thought?
No, Chris, when you talk about did it work, did it not work, I only had him for a short period of time, and I thought, it was going well in the sense of our defense, his ability to block shots, rebound, and then offensively we look to post them up a little bit more than Rick had used them in the post. It was strictly just on the perimeter shooting threes. Both work. He has the skill set to do both. And as you know, in the business of basketball, there's trades that take place, and so and we're judged if it works or doesn't work. That's just part of the business. But for the short period I had him, I really enjoyed KP. He was great, great on the floor, great off the floor. Did everything we asked. When you talk about maybe the health, he got hurt, and so as much as a coach or a teammate, you want them all to be out there 100% at all times. But I thought KP did great for us. But the business of basketball, there was a pivot, and so from there, things changed.
Same row in the aisle.
Bobby Manning, CLNS Media. So also on Kristaps, how have you kind of seen his game evolve in the years since you coached him and he left Dallas, and what kind of challenges are going up against him, especially when you're not certain like how they might use him in the minutes when he's coming in the series with the injury here?
Has it been that long he's been gone from Dallas?
A couple years. Yeah.
Okay. I think, again, his game, when you talk about a big who can put the ball on the floor, who can score, can play, I believe can play in the post. And in today's game, there's a lot of threes. There's not a lot of post up. But when you look at the defensive end, too, a lot of times, he doesn't get recognized for his defense of being able to change shots or a shot blocker. And I think, here in Boston, he's done an incredible job of doing both. There's no, he plays his role, and I think that's one of the things that's underrated about KP. When you ask him to do something, he does, and he doesn't complain about, his role. He goes out there and tries to help his team win.
Back right, Eddie.
Eddie Mavs.com. Jason, you were a pretty elite thinker back in your days as a player. I'm wondering what you think about the way Luka thinks his way around the court to help maybe some athletic shortcomings, maybe?
Well, you said that, Eddie. I did not. We believe that he's super athletic. And so, but when you talk about basketball IQ, everybody has different levels. When you look at Luka's level of understanding the game, time and score, who's on the floor, he is at the head of the class in that sense. When you look at, the stage, he's not afraid of the stage, of the moment, successful or not. He loves that moment, and so it's really cool when you get to spend a lot of time with someone to see how they do move around the floor. He has shown that he can play defense at a high level. He's also shown, that he'll take a little time off when needed defensively. But when it comes down to it, he's about winning, and that's why we're here. Is because of he's playing both sides of the ball, and he understands when he has to. But his offensive skill set is pretty special. When you talk about being able to play inside and out, play the mid-range game, shoot the deep three. He's so I think he's one of the smartest players in this league, and that's why, again, we're playing in the finals, because of his IQ and his willingness to step up on that stage and not be afraid to fail.
Over here, Tim on the third row on the aisle.
Jason, Tim Reynolds with the Associated Press. When Boston lost to Golden State a couple of years ago, there was a sense that guys like Jaylen and Jason had to go through the finals. They had to go through it once to figure out what it was about. You played in it a couple times as a player before you won one. Is there any truth to that notion that a guy really to understand what it takes to win it, you almost have to go through the pain of losing one once to fully comprehend how big a deal the finals are?
Yeah, I think you do have to experience, and I think that's the nicer way to accept losing, is that you have to go through it. It's a graceful way to accept losing. But you do have to, again, go through, defeat to understand, that bad taste or how you feel, how does it make you feel to work on your game, to get better. But then there are times when you're just not good enough. And as a player, unfortunately with the Nets, we played the Lakers. We just weren't good enough, and we got swept. And so there are some cases that you just run into Shaq and Kobe, and you got to just take defeat and then move on. But we did bounce back to come back. But I think you do. Jason and Brown have gone through defeat. We also lost to the Warriors too that year. So the Warriors are really good, but they learned something, and you can see they're playing at a high level right now, winning 64 games, the best team in the NBA. To be, penciled in at the beginning of the season, that puts a little pressure or stress, because, you're supposed to be here. And so they fulfilled that, but that tandem, they're playing at an extremely high level, and we got our work cut out. But they've been here. Some of us for the Mavs have been here, some of us haven't, and we're gonna embrace that and find a way to hopefully win a series.
On your right, Brad.
Jason, Brad Townsend, Dallas Morning News. Piggybacking off of Tim's question, this is your 5th finals as a player or coach. What is the biggest difference when you're talking about that hurdle between the winning the finals? What stands out to you as the biggest part of that hurdle? Is it the aura, the atmosphere, just the increase of a competition? What is it?
It's simple talent. Sometimes you don't have enough talent. As I brought up the Lakers and Nets, we were happy to be there, but we just didn't have enough talent to beat Kobe and Shaq. It could be that simple, but nerves sometimes play a part too, just the human side of things. But at the end of the day, as much as we've talked about it, to embrace it, to stay steady, and to enjoy this time, because you're not promised anything to come back the following year. So to do everything, this isn't a vacation. This is a road trip in the sense of a job. We have an opportunity here to find a way to win on the road. So that's how we're approaching it. But this is the best of the best at the highest level, and it's fun, and that's what the finals are all about, is seeing what team is going to step forward and take advantage of mistakes.
Michael Payton of The Ringer. As a franchise player, how does Jason Tatum make your life easier on a day-in, day-out basis?
I think he makes everyone's life easier. One, because of who he is as a person, type of character they have. I think as your franchise player has to be the cornerstone of what you do. And it starts with his high character, just the way he carries himself, who he is as a dad, who he is as a teammate, his availability. He's there for every single practice, every single game. Loves being coached and just carries himself the best way. So there's no one like him. He's great.
Chris, back left.
Joe, Chris Mannix, Sports Illustrated. When it's not always easy for a star player to fit into a group of other stars. When Kristaps came here, how quickly did you recognize that he would be able to kind of seamlessly fit into what you guys do?
Right away. I mean, I think just all he cares about is winning. Like, I think he's used the experiences that he's had around the league. He's seen a lot. He's seen it all. He's seen success. He's seen tough times, so he knows what the league is all about. And I think at this point in his career, winning's the most important thing. So, but it's both sides, right? Like he had to do his part to fit in, but we had to do our part as a team and guys that have been here before to also, meet him where he's at because of his ability to play at such a high level. So I think it was just both.
Tim, back left.
Tim Reynolds with the Associated Press. What's the value for you in learning from coaches who aren't in basketball, from studying guys who are successful in other walks of sport life? What is that value for you?
I think it's more like the things that lead to success are the same. You're in locker rooms, and regardless of the sport, or even if you're in the companies, everybody's saying the same thing. The things that go into winning, the things that go into success. Toughness, togetherness, connectivity, the mindset you bring. It's all the same. It's just a matter of getting the right group of people in the right spots, and then just working to feed that mentality every single day. So, it's definitely, you can learn from anything and everything. So, you try to stay as open-minded as you can.
Standing on the left.
Joe, Zach Cox, Boston Herald. How is Jayson today different than the player he was when you first got here?
I mean, he's every year he just has the open-mindedness to get better, and so if you have that, you're naturally going to be different. But also, like from the first time we were there, you've just been through other stuff. We've been through success, we've been through failures, we've won, we've lost, we've had pain, we've had triumph. So you use the things that you've been through every single year to just make yourself better on and off the court. And that's kind of where we're all at as a team. Is just using those goods and bad to use us for where we're at right now.
Up front.
Hey Joe, Shane Neal of Forbes Sports. With Jrue defensively, I think a lot of people point out the physical attributes and his capabilities in that regard. But what is he like as a communicator and from the mental side on defense?
Yeah, I mean he can process information. He can process situational basketball. He has an awareness to what's going on in the court. So he has an innate ability to just communicate that in real time because of his ability to just kind of take that all in. Who has the ball, who's the matchup, where's the help, what's the spacing, who can you help off of, who can, when can you make a play. So he's just got great instincts, and that allows him to kind of just communicate at all times.
Gary, next question.
Hey, Joe, Gary Washburn, Boston Globe. Now that you're so close to the finish of the journey, how are you kind of taking it all in? Are you trying to enjoy this? Are you locked in, focused when you're at home with the kids? Like, how are you kind of digesting hour by hour? Because it's been a long wait. And then before this ultimate kind of cage match that, I mean, you're UFA, see a guy, you can relate to that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say this is not the end of the journey. The journey is for however long you're alive. So, I mean, this is just one piece to that. And regardless of what happens, you got to wake up the next day and do your job. So the journey will, forever be there. So you're just ready for it. So you do everything within your control to prepare for it, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and then tomorrow you just get after it. And then the game, the environment will tell us what we need to focus on, where we need to get better, what we need to do. But the most important thing is just kind of, staying even-keeled and staying poised. And I think that's something our team's done a good job of throughout the year.
Second row over here on the left.
Hi, Joe. Alder Alma from PhilStar.com. You've been here before 2 years ago, but as an assistant coach, what has changed in your approach now that you're the head coach, and what did you learn from that NBA Finals experience?
Yeah, I had a good seat, had great perspective in that, and I think the biggest thing you learn is like what goes into winning in the NBA Finals is the same as last series before that, regular season, preseason, practice, training camp. It's the details, it's the execution, it's the ability to take your mindset and your body to the next level. The toughest team will win, the team that makes the most plays will win, and the team that can execute the details at a high level will win, and it's no different. That's the biggest thing you took. As we were going through that series against the Warriors, the things we kept coming back to are the things that we kept talking about the entire year, the margins, the details, the fundamentals, the way you go about executing at a high level.
Mark, back right.
Coach Mark Spears, ESPN's Landscape. Talk about just what you recall from the two Jays, their emotion when you guys lost last time, and just what they took from that, and if you see a little, kind of different mentality coming into this finals.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's not the only moment I think that those guys are using to get better. I think the coolest thing about where Jaylen has been is just kind of his surrender to anything external, and the most important thing is his growth and development as a person and as a player. That's all he cares about, is getting better. And I think that's been really cool to see. And I think it's the same for Jayson. So, you can pick numerous experiences that everybody in our locker room has been through that you need to be able to use for the situation that we're in now. And that will remain the same for the rest of our careers. And I think it's all about just using what you've been through, good, bad, and different, to help you in the present moment. And I think the guys are doing that.
John, standing in the back.
Joe, John Corrales, Boston Sports Journal. You talk about staying in the moment, doing the same things that go into winning from before. How do you do that now with the brightness of the lights, the bigger stage, and all this extra stuff? How do you stay in the moment? How is that different from the regular season? How do you get the guys to kind of stay in the moment and treat everything the same way?
Yeah, I mean, unless they change the light bulbs in the arenas, they won't be any brighter than they were in the last series. And it's just sticking to the details and the things that matter and the truth. The truth of the matter is, if you don't box out, if you don't sprint back in transition, if you don't pass the ball in a 2-on-1, if you don't take away the other team's tendencies, if you don't know who you're guarding, if you don't recognize the spacing, if you don't talk, if you don't play hard, you're not going to win. And it's like focusing on the most simple things and the truth of the matter is you have to do those things. You got to do them at a high level. And, obviously the stakes are higher, but that just means that the details are more important.
Michael, last question, third row in the middle.
Michael Pina, The Ringer. Joe, what does Brad Stevens mean to you, and what does he mean to this organization as someone who's just been here for 11 years?
Yeah, I mean, everybody in the organization is a leader in their own way, and everybody sets the temperature when they come in. Brad giving me my start, hiring me, empowering me from day one as an assistant, and giving me some of the opportunities that he has, but also the way he carries himself. Like I've always had a lot of respect for how he went about coaching, how he kept family and his family balance number one, how he treated people number one, and that was always more important than whether there was a success or a failure. And I think he kind of spearheads the leadership and the temperature of the building just as everybody else does.